Welcome back to the Gun Show, my friends. I have a very special guest. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you may already see this handsome young man. But if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or Google, you have to wait just a second for the intro because first and foremost, if you're a returning listener to the Gun Show, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Between our sponsors and yourselves, we wouldn't really have a point of a show, would we, if you didn't exist? So thank you. I'm glad you've returned. It means we've done something right. For those of you who have arrived accidentally because you saw the name Gun, there's two ends. It's a last name. I apologize. I don't have any muscles and I don't have any weapons. So if you tuned in for that, please stick around. I promise you the show is going to be good. But it's not about muscles and it's not about weapons, although occasionally it can be about both of those. It might be today. My guess is pretty strong. We'll find out. But it is not about that. So stick around. What the Gun Show is about humanizing manufacturing, all the things around us that manufacturing touches on a daily basis, the things we take for granted. I mean, look around you right now. What is in your life that, other than the air, maybe people and some in nature, hasn't been touched by manufacturing? Have you been to surgery before? Yeah, there's a piece of manufacturing inside your body right now. Have you driven a car? Have you played with your phone, gone onto a computer, been in a plane? All of these things, satellites, defense, boats, you name it, manufacturing touches it. So our ultimate goal here is to excite you about manufacturing, but also we want to introduce you to the humans that are a part of this journey as well, because it's humans that are creating all of the things that are making our lives easier. Without any further ado, I do have a good friend of mine on today. His name, he goes by the superstar, the stud muffin, Greg Christensen. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good, Tony. It's really awesome to be here, man. And thanks for one hell of an intro.
Yeah, did you like that? Did I get all the adjectives? You told me to say that. You said emphasize stud muffin, right?
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people don't know that, but I guess they do now.
For anyone listening right now, he did not say it. It's just that's who he is. That's what he embodies as a stud muffin. Now, when I think of you, Greg, firstly, I think podcast superstar. That's the first thing that pops into my head. I think of CMMS radio, your growth, your passion, where I've seen you traveling now, the sponsorships you're getting into. That's the first thing I think of. But I can't think of that without also thinking of other aspects of your life that you find to be so important, which is exactly where you started CMMS radio. And although I didn't fit into that exact category when I came onto your podcast, it is also something you're passionate about. Would you mind opening up to the audience that may not have heard you already, even though you're far more famous than I am, about those two passions and how you got into it?
Well, yeah, I don't know about the fame, man. I give that to you, but here, as it relates to the passion, so CMMS radio, I did my first monologue episode and dropped that around December 26, 2021. And it was kind of on a whim, but based on past experiences, lifelong hearing from people, hey, why aren't you doing this kind of work? Why aren't you on the radio? Whatever, because I got a face for radio, obviously. And being in the CMMS space, I want to give a shout out to a dearly departed friend of mine named Sean Dawson, who was the founder of a company in the CMMS space, and I was there building that company with him over a very long period of time. And the reason this part of the story is important is it kind of fuels how CMMS radio came into existence in the first place. So over all those years doing all those demos, helping people with their needs, people in manufacturing and otherwise, when we fast forward into 2021, I was kind of chomping at the bit about the industry. Now I'm not with any companies anymore because we sold the company and all that kind of stuff. And I still wanted to be involved because I really like maintenance people. I really love manufacturing. I love facilities. And I like this idea of guidance and insights that are real and raw, but can be impactful when it comes to somebody's journey. And CMMS is a big part of my life. So it was easy for me to say, hey, I can talk about this. I can talk to people about this. I can volley if they're super advanced. I can kind of participate in the conversation. If they're not exactly in CMMS, I think I have enough capability or interest or curiosity to draw them into the kind of conversation that will help somebody learn something, get them thinking critically. And ultimately, I want to make the industry better when it comes to providers of CMMS technology, users of CMMS technology, and then everyone in between in maintenance management, which will touch manufacturing and all these different things. I want that. I want to continually talk about it, explore it. I want to call BS on things that I don't like. I want to say, hey, good stuff on things that I do like, stuff that's impactful. And I try to do it in kind of a untethered way. I like to grip it and rip it, wing it. Not too much preparation, a little bit. I mean, I don't want to be rude and not prepare, but at the same time, I want a real conversation as if I just bumped into you at coffee, at a conference. Let's talk about maintenance, talk about people, let's talk about process, talk about technology, and always have to call out the hogwash.
You're a guy with rhymes. And when you said wing it, in my head, I thought you were going to be like, wing it and ding it. I'm like, that does happen when you wing it. Sometimes you put a ding in the machine or your car or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's take one step back, because what I've realized in life, Greg, is that oftentimes, because I'm so familiar with a subject, I'll speak at a level that the people who are familiar with it also understand. But I completely overlook, completely on accident as well, but completely overlook the people who are listening to learn. So let's take one step back and go, what is CMMS? And why do you have such passion for it? Where can it really help people?
All right. Number one, CMMS is computerized maintenance management software. You could say system, any of these different things. So anybody listening, I want you thinking of work orders. We have a work request. We have some kind of work that has to be done. We need some kind of a system to see, track, and manage that. We have facilities, manufacturing, assets within, building envelopes. We want to leverage this technology to track the things that we do to it, track the things that we have done to it, see what we are not doing. So we have that awareness. And we also want some sense of what's coming next. This gets back to things like scheduling and planning. But at the end of the day, if you have things that you do to machines, to facilities on behalf of people in a maintenance capacity of any kind, you need some form of software to track it. You need to see what's happening, the people, the places, and the things. That's why you would utilize a CMMS platform. So there are similar solutions out there, like enterprise asset management solutions. But at the end of the day, CMMS is about maintenance management activities being tracked within a database that gives you good, strong visibility. You need KPIs, key performance indicators, and data tracking. Nowadays, they talk about digital transformation like it's a thing. All you're doing is taking your basic, hey, we wrote down this work order, we gave it to someone, they went and did the work, they brought it back, now we know it got done. We want to digitize that. We want to web enable that so that we have better access to real contextual data. So in a nutshell, I think that's what CMMS is, and that's who can benefit from it. There's a lot, we can go much deeper on it, but generally speaking, that's what it is.
All right, Greg. Well, when I look at you, and for anyone who's listening on Spotify right now, I'm going to try and be somewhat vivid, not too vivid. For YouTube, you can follow right along and just watch with me. Greg, you look like you might have been a rule breaker when you were younger, but what you're describing and your passion seems like a pretty strict, like we're watching, you know what, how am I describing? You know what I mean? Like it seems like just maybe you have a bipolar side to you where you were when you were younger, like I'm a troublemaker, and then you're like, oh man, I gotta fix some of that stuff I did when I was younger. I'm gonna get into maintenance now. Like obviously I'm making jest and having fun and telling jokes and everything, but how did you find yourself to care so passionately about that? Because you do look like you might have been wild at one time.
Ladies and gentlemen, August 6th and 7th of 2025 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's the Advanced Manufacturing Expo. No, but hey, seriously, it's going to be a great time. See you there.
Yeah, I was certainly a troublemaker. I was certainly
So I'm
uh,
not wrong. Okay.
no, you're not wrong. As a matter of fact, I think that's a part of me that I've embraced, but in a healthier way in my life as I've gotten older and older.
Well done. Well
And
done.
I think, thank you. I think everybody should give themselves that opportunity as often as they can to kind of learn from mistakes and maybe, hey, I dodged a bullet there, this or that, right? So I've been in trouble, and I've also always had some kind of a passion for things when it comes to like work or people that are mm, kind of elusive or lofty. I've always had that. So going from a troublemaker that starting out young, I worked in some trades related businesses and in manufacturing, and you know did all the drinking way too much and getting in all kinds of trouble. I mean, I've got stories I can't even tell on recordings, man. But it's it's uh, it's fueled my passion over the years because I've gotten a little bit further away from that, and I've harnessed some of that kind of wild side to do something that I think is good or maybe somewhat good, but that's not really up to me. That's up to other people. And the passion thing, I couldn't tell you where it really comes from. All I can tell you is that it's real. Like I get into these conversations when I'm interviewing guests or I'm talking to somebody, my cheeks are hurting because I'm smiling and I'm just having a blast because I think it's meaningful stuff that is kind of at risk of going away. I love telling stories. I love hearing stories. I like having fun and kind of cutting loose. And that's how the wild side comes out now, as opposed to getting in trouble and stuff like that.
Hey, I heard you are a wild. I know you like rock and roll, so I won't sing hip hop to you. I know you
I'm
like
good.
music in general, though.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll take it all, man. Throw on some Wu Tang. We can go.
Hey, I heard they're nothing to mess with. Hey, all right. So let's see if my research has served me correctly. Am I correct when I say that you actually have a bachelor's degree in psychology? Is that true?
That is true. I do have a bachelor's degree in psychology.
How does that come into, well, firstly, why psychology? But how does that come into play into the CMMS that you love? Does it come into play at all? Like tell me that circle environment.
Yeah. So my pursuit of the psychology degree was there was a day where I had a moment where I decided I wanted to become a clinical psychologist.
Oh, no kidding.
And no kidding. And I was a guy that was not really that interested in going to college or anything like that. So coming out of high school, I know we've talked about it, right? It's not for everybody, right? And I think what happened was coming out of high school, I wanted a little bit of a break. And I was going to go to technical school. Well, fast forward, I was actually in my own therapeutic process. And it turned out I had a knack for what I was consuming, what I was discussing. And that caused me to go to college. The kicker was I started college like within a week of getting married. I was already growing a company, but I was very intent. I am going to do this, right? And when I ask somebody, "Hey, what do I got to do?" They're like, "Oh, well, you need this degree and all that." And so I go and I start pursuing this degree in psychology. I start off at junior college, city college. It's going really well. It's really, really hard. Come to find out later, my mentor, he thought I already had a degree because he said, so he said, so you're almost done with your master's? I said, dude, I'm doing a bachelor's, man. He's like, what? I said, yeah, you didn't know I never went to college? He goes, no, I thought you already had a college degree. And I said, oh, well, that's a compliment then. Anyway,
Yeah, it is a
so
compliment for sure.
st- studied psychology while we're growing the CMMS company, and it was it was an amazing experience for me because I was there with intention. I wanted to learn. I wanted to really know what I was talking about, but I also wanted to find a lot of spots where I didn't know anything, because I have a lot of fun with that. Like getting in there, getting lost, asking
Mm-hmm.
lots of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I finished college the day before I turned 40. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, and I didn't go to grad school because I was tired, and to go to professional school was going to cost like 150 G's. And I was like, nah, I don't want to spend that kind of dough right now. I'm just going to do this. So, haven't done the graduate degree, did not become a psychologist, but the things I learned, the people I met, the things I got to talk about, not just psychology, philosophy, studying religion, on and on like this. It's all connected, man. And when you ask the question about how does that come into play in the world of CMMS, the world of maintenance management, the world in general, it is everywhere. And it's not about walking around going, oh, I think that guy's got this or that gal's got that. None of that crap. That's a bunch of hogwash, man. What it really is about understanding, or maybe even not understanding, the human condition and what it means for us to be, to exist. And my favorite thing about psychology, philosophy, this discussion, CMMS radio, all of it is the human interactions where we're on this constant journey, kind of like fellow travelers. And I'm stealing that term, fellow travelers, from Irv Yalom. For anybody that knows who Irv Yalom is, he coined that term for me and to a lot of people. And that is what this whole thing is all about. So it does touch the world of CMMS and maintenance management, because we think, we feel, and I'll tell you something, also not my own creation, but this is something I'm passionate about. Human beings are an incredibly terrified species, and we are primarily terrified of one thing. And when I ask people what they think that thing is, oftentimes they might say death, or they might say public speaking. And I say, well, you're not wrong, but what it is vulnerability.
Mm.
And life happens in the vulnerability, even though we're terrified. So all of this will ultimately connect back to that. And everybody out there going, Greg, that's a bunch of bullshit, man. You just got to do this, that, and the other and keep on going. Sure, keep denying it, but that's what's fueling you. That's what's driving you. And I'm pretty damn confident about that.
That's awesome. I didn't know we were going to get into that today, but I'm super happy we did.
Neither did I.
Vulnerability. I think about that, Greg, and they do say, if you were to take a poll, that the majority of people on this planet would check the box that says public speaking or public nudity. Like, that is more scary than earthquakes and sharks and mother-in-laws and all the things that are extremely scary, right? And yet, you mentioned vulnerability, but vulnerability is probably the core of all of it, right? Because you have to be vulnerable to get on stage. You have to be vulnerable to be naked in public. You have to be vulnerable to do most things that we're most terrified about. So I would say, I agree with you. I just think it meant that vulnerability, that fear of vulnerability manifests for different people in different areas. But at the
Correct.
core, it's probably that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're going to start a new podcast, not the gun show, not CMS radio. We're going to do, like, I don't know, some thought-provoking psychology show. What do you think? We can spring off of this podcast and do that next?
I'm all for it, man. I would show up and we can just hit record, man. I'm ready.
Who knows what that'll turn into? That'd be wild and fantastic. All right. I want to get into the radio, Greg. I want to get into what you're working on, what you've been working on. I'm fascinated by your work ethic. I'm inspired by what you're creating. I saw you traveling recently, and I was so happy to see it for you. I know we've spoken about, getting more and more podcasts and making this a true global sensation, which you deserve. You have the voice for it. You have the knowledge for it. You have the charisma for it. CMMS radio should and can be all the things that you've dreamt it. I know it. I've listened to your show. I've listened to your guests. I've seen your passion. So let's just talk about the show in general and what you're creating, what you're working on, what the future looks like, what you'd like if we can manifest what the future is going to look like as well by speaking it into action, let's do some of that as well today.
Hey there, manufacturers. Need to sell your surplus CNC machinery? Whether it's vertical machining centers, CNC lathes, or machines from top brands like Yazda, Matsur, or Watchon, let me introduce you to Revelation Machinery. If you've never worked with a used machinery dealer before, here's what you're missing. Selling equipment on your own can mean long waits, low offers, and lots of time chasing leads. Revelation Machinery changes the game, bringing nationwide exposure to your machines. Their team is located across the USA, so wherever you are, you've got a local expert on your side. Revelation doesn't just list your equipment, they use targeted marketing methods to get your machines in front of serious buyers. Revelation Machinery is committed to fair pricing, full transparency, and taking care of the details. From paperwork to logistics and even rigging if you need it, they're there every step of the way so you're not juggling any part of the process alone. Ready to let a trusted partner handle the heavy lifting? Head to revelationmachinery.com/thegunshow to see how easy it is to turn that surplus machinery into cash with Revelation Machinery.
All right, good. So CMMS radio, although it's about computerized maintenance management software, it really focuses on the maintenance management in the middle. That's about people and process. The technology fits in somewhere, somehow. So I'm all about telling that story. And what we really want to do when it comes to CMMS radio and getting out there into the world is never lose sight of the fact that we're helping one person at a time. It could be on either side of that, provider, user of the software. And what I'm really trying to do is help the entire industry be better, but also have fun, also understand where we could avoid buzzwords and focus in on actually doing the work and all those kind of things. So it's a very lofty vision for what CMMS radio really is and what it's really trying to do, right? And I think you mentioned the show. So I recently did a conference called Streamline Conference out in Greenville, South Carolina. And
awesome city, by the way.
And it was my first time there. It was brilliant. I had a blast. No two ways about it. Can't think of a moment that was a problem. Was I tired? Sure. I did 17 episodes. I had an awesome.
How long were you there?
We were there for the majority of a week, and then I also got to finish that week off with an amazing on-site at a particular facility. I can't talk about what that facility was. People can figure it out if they're clever. But I toured basically a 1 million square foot manufacturing facility. Saw it all, soup to nuts, the whole nine, everything about it. I was in on the maintenance meeting in the morning. I was there with the leaders and the managers and the boots on the ground, even did a little bit of consulting. So the reason I'm telling you all this is that kind of stuff just gets me fired up and excited because we're getting stuff done. And that's what I want CMMS radio to be, is a conduit for these stories and these kind of things that can happen, how people can make impact where they are, where they're going, and even consider where they could go as organizations, as users, as just people in this awesome industry of maintenance management, reliability, manufacturing, you name it, right? So it's a big, lofty thing. The event was really a fun experience. They really pulled out all the stops. There's a company called Digital Thinker Incorporated that brought me there, along with Reliability X. Those are good friends of mine that brought a nice rig for me to do all the podcasting. And those episodes will come out eventually. We've got them in post right now. So they were done differently than I normally do the episodes. But having these experiences at these events, and keep in mind, I'm there as someone who's supposed to be agnostic. So this one was primarily sponsored by a really big company in the EAM space, enterprise asset management space. And when I was called in, I said, hey, I'm not beholden to any companies, and I'll talk about what I want, who I want, all that. And they're like, that's exactly why we're bringing you. And I was like, how refreshing, right? I wish more people would do that. I want them all to come on CMMS radio. I want them all to, sponsor the show so we can just pump more and more and more content. That's really one of the things that I want to do. I also want to do a little bit more in the way of conferences where What I do at some of these conferences is it's called a CMMS radio panel discussion. And I like to do that live from the stage. It's a simple panel format, but low prep, no prep. Just get in there and have a nice conversation. We've got some takeaways. We've got an end in mind, but a real conversation. None of this crap where people are hitting their 18 bullet points and selling you a bunch of software and all that. I love nothing more than taking all these buzzwords and the shiny magic bullet stuff and just kind of picking on it. Now, I'm not doing that to be mean. I'm not anti. I'm doing it because I want people to see beyond or inside of those buzzwords. So that's kind of what fuels me. I want to do that from the stage. I want to do that on the podcast, and I want more people being fearless about who and what they are. If they're a CMMS or technology provider, I don't care if it's condition monitoring. I don't care what it is. I want you to join me and tell me, show us who and what you are. Quit being everything to everyone, right? So now I'm getting all fired up, man. You
I
got
love
me all
it.
spun out.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm all about this, and there are plenty of times where it's like, oh, are you going too far? Oh, what if they don't like that? And it's like, wait a minute, none of that matters. What matters is that none of that matters. You got to be out there. You just got to be out there. I'm not doing it to hurt anybody. I'm doing it to help everybody, right? So on the sponsored stuff you were asking about, what I'll occasionally do is craft out sponsored episode series, certain number of episodes in a certain style where I'm going to do a certain type of interview with a certain type of guest on behalf of the sponsoring company. And then we are, I don't know why I always say we, it's me, myself, and I, but looking
I got
for
voices in my head too, buddy. Don't worry about it. I always say we.
Yeah, you got to listen to them. You got to listen to them. Yeah, they're there for a reason. They're just you, just different versions.
Right.
Trust me. Yeah, trust me. I'm not a psychologist.
But I did stay at a Holiday Inn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we bring sponsors on that way. I also look for event sponsors where I can do some promotion of their event, maybe be at the event and do some of that. And then from there, it really starts to spin out what the vision could be as far as really growing the brand into a place for people to really get select types of learning. I really want to get a lot of folks with integrity involved. It's really important to me because I don't know if I'm known for this, but I want to be known for a relentless pursuit of the elusive win-win. I want good outcomes. I want good business. I want good content. I want things that are helpful. I want things that are entertaining. I don't just want money. I want what the money tends to get in the way of. So when people sponsor, it's about sponsoring CMMS Radio and the brand so that it can just keep going and keep growing.
You want believers. You want believers in what's going on, right?
I do, and I don't mind non-believers at all. That's we're all here, right? We're all on this same ball of wax or whatever. So come one, come all. Let's have a ball.
In a perfect world, Greg, because you said if I start to spread this vision out more, in a perfect world, what would it be a year from now, 5 years from now? If you could snap your fingers like Thanos and make a wish come true, where would you see CMMS Radio evolving to? Would you work from home? Would you travel the world? Would it be just domestic? Would sponsorships come to you regularly for all the right reasons? Like, what in your crazy mind that I'm fascinated by, what is this dream for you? What are you pursuing?
I want a mix of what you described. And I think primarily working from behind the mic, love that. But I do want to go to events and I do want to see some parts of the world in, for example, you and I have talked about it. I'd love to go to the Philippines and go to some manufacturing facilities, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
I would love to eventually get to a couple of other regional areas in the world to understand what the differences are. I'm always curious about why do we do things a certain way here? What are you doing over there or over in this spot? And why does some stuff resonate there with how your teams are moving, how you've developed your organizational culture towards maintenance excellence or otherwise. I want to see what those differences are. So it's a mix and match of both. But if we look a year out, I would see the kind of sponsors that say, hey, we just want you to keep building and keep doing what you're doing. I don't want sponsors that want control. I don't want sponsors that want influence. I want sponsors that want to be the fuel for the fire that could keep growing. I want to work myself out of being able to do all of it. I want to get so busy that I can have an actual team doing parts of the work and all that. And I happen to know a guy that does that sometimes. If you pay attention, he sometimes brings in an entire team. You know who I'm talking about? It's you, brother.
Not a clue. Not a clue. No. This show is about you today, my friend.
I know.
Have you? I don't know this answer. I know that we've spoken a lot and we've talked a lot about opportunity, but have you had the opportunity to travel much out of the U.S. yet, Greg? I don't know that answer.
Yeah, not very much. Couple of times, mostly local when I was younger. Of course, we Southern California, and we just sneak on down southern.
That almost doesn't count. That almost doesn't count.
It almost doesn't count. And I have been to the Philippines once. I've not yet been to the other parts of the world that I'm interested in seeing. And right when that was all about to happen, we had that nasty little disruption in 2020. So
I don't remember a thing.
Yeah.
As a blip.
Arthur, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Tony. Good to see you, man.
Thank
Hey,
you.
have you tried shop floor coffee before?
Dude, honestly, I don't drink coffee.
This is shop floor coffee. You need to try it.
So if I'm gonna start, it's gotta be shop floor coffee?
It's gotta be shop floor coffee.
Oh shit, you're right. That is so good.
Exactly. Here, grab a cup.
Dang right, that's good, guys. And not only by drinking shop floor coffee are you getting great coffee, but you're also supporting the manufacturing community. 20% of proceeds go back to workforce development programs in the manufacturing community. So by supporting shop floor, you're also investing in the future of manufacturing.
Yeah.
I bring that up, Greg, because of your passion, CMMS. And when I have had the great pleasure, super grateful to have seen a lot of the world. I was 26 when I took my first flight. I was very, very poor growing up. And then I really hit the road when I was 32. And travel, I think I'm somewhere over 80 countries at this point, something like that, right? But listening to you speak and knowing what I've seen, I can only imagine what you would bring to the table if this radio show can go to places like the Philippines or Indonesia, Vietnam, Brazil, all these places around the world, because we have an idea of how things are being done in this world of CMMS, right? And to be there, to be in a shop and say, last week I was just in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and now this week I'm here in Jakarta, Indonesia, and then next week I'm in Munich, Germany, and to see the differences, I imagine it would be like a kid in a candy store.
Oh yeah, think about you're 100% spot on, and I get to talk to people in different parts of the world, whether they come on the podcast or not. I still get to talk to them. I get to engage with them. I get to answer questions or ask them questions. Australia, I've got a lot of contacts in Australia now. That someday I want to go there and meet them and talk to them, because there's some interesting and unique differences about how they approach maintenance management, asset management, and all these things. They're very heavily focused on infrastructure in Australia. So it's almost a slightly different take than what we see here. Not that we're not focused on infrastructure. In the Philippines, here's something I've heard about the Philippines. I'll say this. When it comes to maintenance and reliability best practices, or just maintenance best practices in general, the way they take in and apply the information and do things to actually achieve those levels of reliability, it's very different. And it's extremely impressive, because I have some really incredible friends that are consultants in the industry, and they go around the world. So I get to hear these stories when we do, what we call a high level meeting. Shout out to Bob Latino. He's the godfather of the high level meeting. Know it, never forget it. Anyway, then you mentioned some of these other regions. I've got a buddy over in Bangkok. I still haven't been able over there to go see him. I said, hey, can you go out and get me some footage? He's like, I'm not doing none of that. I wanted him to go to a factory, right? So that stuff's all cool. I want to go see what's going on in Spain and Portugal and all that. But the other thing is, I still want to do what I do here. So it's a big undertaking, and you're setting that bar really high. I mean, I love seeing you at these different locations. I remember when you told me the story about being at a production environment in India where they're cranking out good stuff, but the floors are dirt.
It blew my mind. Blew my mind. Yeah. Blew my mind. You're not wrong. India is certainly one of those more extreme descriptions that we have the opportunity to share, right? And even a semi-common. I don't want the world to be like, I don't want everyone who's watching and listening to be like, every shop in India. It's not like that, right? But it's semi-common theme to walk into a machine shop and you'll see some of the best machines on the planet, and the people working on them are in flippy floppies or barefoot, like very normal. I'm like, okay. And then on the rare occasion, you walk into a machine shop and the floor is dirt, and you're like, how are you getting any stability here? Like, I know it's vibrant. What are you cutting? How are you balancing this? It's the creativity. Here's what I have learned, Greg. The creativity of people to make something work in a situation that they're in, that part is wild to me. We are so creative. The human race is so creative when we have to be, and that I like.
Yes, and that's my favorite part about that whole thing, is that the limitless potential to, figure something out and achieve an outcome is part of what humans do. That's just what we do. Under the right circumstances, with the right motivation, we just figure it out.
Greg, I know that you are, and I totally agree with that. We somehow do. I know you're big into music, and I know you're big into cars. And so that's going to be my segue in just a minute, because it's a passion of yours. But before we do, I just want to drop the website, CMMSradio.com. That is Greg's website for the radio. Check him out. Incredible. I mean, truly incredible. I had the opportunity to be on the show, but I'm by far not the best guest. There are so many amazing guests on there, and they're worth listening to and learning from. And Greg does a magnificent job of pulling out the information that allows us all to succeed as well. Greg, you said something to me, you said something on the podcast just a little while ago, that you like to be able to be one-on-one and help people. And that's kind of the point of doing this maintenance. And as your voice grows, which again, I'm inspired by your current rate of growth, but as your voice grows on this podcast, you are doing a one-on-one like you're doing right now, but you have thousands, if not tens of thousands, soon to be hundreds of thousands of people listening. So while you're still conducting yourself one-on-one, you're improving that rate of absorption 100,000 fold. And that's super cool.
Thank you. And I really appreciate you shouting out the guests and the experts. And, I call them bona fide experts. They're real pros, people that really are trying to make a difference in what they do. And their passion runs so deep. It's incredible. And the off mic conversations are, wow. I mean, sometimes I wish I could record those. So I appreciate that. And also, so far, I really just focus on LinkedIn right now with the CMMS Radio company page. So the potentials and where this is really going, it's there. And I just love the fact that you're interested in it and, shouting it out like that. But yeah, I got to give it up to the guests and to all the followers that give comments and, tell me that something helped them, or, hey, I got to know so-and-so from your podcast, and now we're working on a project together, man. That's the stuff. That's the stuff.
Yeah, buddy. And maybe, just maybe, one of my MTDCNC colleagues will listen to us talk right now and go, maybe we should pick up this podcast as a part of our lineup. How fun would that be?
That would be not just fun. That would be That would be a game changer for a
Well,
lot of people.
it's currently a topic we're missing. As we have, I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe 5 or 6 podcasts under the MTDCNC umbrella, but I don't think we talk about maintenance enough. We talk about a lot of other subjects. So obviously we're on the record right now, so maybe we don't go into too much detail.
Yeah,
but it's exciting to think about, and who knows the possibilities. All right, buddy. Before I segue you into cars and music, is there any closing statements you'd like to talk about for CMMS or the radio station or yourself before we get into me just having a good time with your music choices and car choices?
All right. So anybody on this CMMS journey, maintenance management, I'm all about the people in the process. If you're working on a project and you're starting off brand new, you don't have to rush into it. Put your vendors to the test, ask them really hard questions, because you'll know by their answers if you're talking to someone with integrity that wants to solve your problem. It's all about that. If you have a system and you're struggling, reach out for help. I'll get you hooked up with people. I'm not selling anything. I am here to make a difference. I'm not here to make money. That's important. The other thing is, I want to hear your questions, things you're struggling with. Send me some stories. There's a What's on Your Mind link on the CMMSradio.com webpage. Just type something up. Tell me a story. Tell me if you want to talk about it, and we'll see what happens from there. And I'll leave it at that. Like to keep it simple. My favorite place to connect is on LinkedIn. CMMS Radio has a company page. Hit us up there.
Love it. All right, buddy. Music and cars. Every time I post that I'm bumping into a car or heading over to Roush Yates or something like that, I always hear from you. Anytime I'm making a fool of myself singing, you always bring up just your passion for music. I see a couple of shirts behind you, a few hats behind you. It's very obvious to me where some of your love lies, right? Would you like to talk a little bit about cars and music, my friend?
I love to talk about cars and music. So
I knew you would.
Yeah. So first, you see the T-shirt there for Metallica.
That little band called Metallica.
That's right. Now, interesting.
Hi, I'm Carrie Marsico. I'm the Membership and Chapter Relations Manager at NTMA, the National Tooling and Machining Association.
I'm Dan Ott. I'm the Marketing Manager at NTMA.
We would love to get new members into our association. We offer a lot of opportunity for networking, professional development, just all kind of resources that can really help your business grow and thrive.
So, I mean, you're looking for reduced cutting tool costs, you're looking for a new ERP system, you're just looking to network with other shops your size. There's no better place than NTMA.
You can find us at www.ntma.org. Feel free to reach out anytime. We have some upcoming events we would love to see people at. We have our Emerging Leaders Conference coming up in Orlando, May 5th through the 7th. And then our big fall conference, our Engage conference, is going to be in Detroit this year, October 7th through the 10th. Consider this a personal invitation. Look us up, reach out to us. We'll give you more information about all of the content, but a great event to come network, meet other people that are like-minded individuals. And we'd love to see you there.
No, but there's no excuse not to be there. You want to forge connections, there's no better place to be.
So, of course, I love Metallica. Everybody knows I love Metallica. I love a lot of other music. I love a lot of heavy metal, different kinds of rock, all that. But with Metallica, the reason I display this is I kind of want people to ask about that shirt. That T-shirt is a special edition T-shirt that I acquired during the month of giving, which is typically May every year. And you can find whatever they're going to do this year at All Within My Hands. All Within My Hands is Metallica's nonprofit. And something really special about it for me is there's a heavy focus on Metallica Scholars Program, and that's all about the trades, skilled trades. Very important to me. So I love Metallica, but I also love the stuff they do and the things that they support. So I'm kind of doing a twofer there on my response.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done.
The probably my favorite thing majority of the time is, heavy metal, hair bands, stuff like that. Because I was like an 80s kid and got exposed to all that kind of stuff. So I really dig that. But I like almost all music. I can't think of much music that I don't like unless it's not, catchy or very disruptive to my thought process. You mentioned hip hop, and I love hip hop, but I have like certain like hip hop bands that I kind of prefer, as opposed to some of the more modern stuff I'm not that into. You know, Wu
What?
Tang. Wu Tang's good. NWA. Uh, I mean, all the real deal stuff from probably late '80s and '90s for sure.
Uh-huh.
That's the best stuff.
I grew up. I was my teenage years are pretty much in the '90s, so a little bit right around you, a little bit later. But these days, I hardly listen to hip hop. I listen to a lot of positive music. We discussed this when I was on your podcast, actually,
Yeah,
because I had the audacity to try and make music for a little bit as therapy. Really, that was my psychology. My
yeah.
therapist. Did you ever do you sing karaoke? Did you ever do music yourself? Do you play any instruments, or do you just love being a part of that vibe and that energy?
I think it's the latter. I took a few shots, several shots at trying to learn guitar when I was young. We had a little band, and it's just nothing panned out. Didn't work out. So, not much of a musician. Karaoke, maybe. I mean, especially back when I drank, because I'm not so sure about like the singing and all that. So I can get goofy. Everybody wants me to whenever we're out and there's karaoke going on, they want me to go up and sing like Everly Brothers or something like that, I guess because of my voice. So
That makes sense.
I've done it a few times, but yeah, I'm more interested in just being around it and feeling the energy and seeing people having a good time, and live performances are really fun. Music transcends everything. It cuts through everything. It transcends everything. It saves lives. It inspires. If you want to be down and curl up like a little baby, like a little shrimp, you can put on some music that's good for that. If you get a broken heart or if you have a loss, I mean, music connects everything, man. Music is unbelievable. And I'll tell you, sometimes now when I'm editing episodes, I listen to music while I'm listening to the episodes just because
How's
I turn the music down, but I can still hear it.
interesting?
Yeah, I've just recently started doing that because um, it just keeps me kind of in a creative mood while I'm watching back the episode and figuring out what I'm going to splice in there.
If you could have, I was watching Family Guy one time, and they had they had a band following around the guy everywhere he went. There was music. It was the same song over and over again. If you had a band, your theme song following you around everywhere you went, what would your theme song be?
Wherever I May Roam by Metallica.
Ah, that's a good choice.
Yeah, I did a stage walkout to that once.
For to what purpose? What stage? What were you doing on the stage?
I did a stage walkout for the first ever CMMS radio panel discussion, and
Oh, dope.
they played me out to not Metallica, no, but it was a cover band that was opening that event that morning, and so I got to walk out to their rendition of Wherever I May Roam, just to get
Very
everybody
cool.
fired up in the morning. It was cool.
So in my head, I'm picturing, let's say, 17-year-old Greg, probably some loud muscle car, denim outfit, and Metallica, just long hair and raging. How close am I? And for the audience listening right now, I have no clue. I'm just listening to Greg and picturing what I might envision 17-year-old Greg to be. How off am I? How close am I?
So long hair, no, because I couldn't grow long hair because it's wavy.
Okay.
All right, and maybe on the music, but it might have been different music. Interestingly enough, I was still oftentimes listening to 50s and 60s music.
No way. I love that. I love those decades.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We used to go out cruising all night and drinking our beers and cruising around. We're not supposed to do that. I don't encourage that, but we're listening to Beach Boys, Jan and Dean, all that kind of shit. But the Metallica would play as well at that time because they were in 82, 83, they were coming up and becoming a thing. So by 87, I definitely would have been playing some Metallica.
Good, good, good
good
vibrations.
vibrations. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And the hot rod, yeah, you'd be right about that. If not, it'd be a truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So close-ish. Not bad, not bad.
Oh yeah, solid. You did solid.
All right, Greg, we're just about out of time, even though I think I could talk to you for the next week and a half. I don't know if my phone and computer will last that long recording this podcast. I guess I could plug it in. We'll figure it out. We do like talking with each other. However, incredibly informative. If you have any closing statements that you'd like to offer the audience today, whether it be about yourself, your journey, any inspiration you like to offer, it could be your psychology and schooling, it could be about music and cars, dude. Totally up to you. Any closing statements that you'd like to offer, I'd love to hear it. This is your pedestal moment. This is your spotlight, your highlight, your moment of zen, whatever you want to call it.
All right. Well, instead of making it about me, of course, I do want you to follow CMMS Radio and support it and all that good stuff. But for everybody out there, any one person out there, try to do one thing for yourself every day that's kind of fun, kind of enlightening. Don't be afraid to be self-aware and take those opportunities to continually improve. But no matter what, here's what I really want. Listen to some music, check out some comedy, do something, because there's something every day that's worth it, no matter how hard it is out there. And when you get to the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hang on for dear life.
All right, my friends, this is my buddy Greg. I've learned a ton today. Something I've learned is be brave enough to be vulnerable. That's what I've learned from Greg today, and so many others. For everyone listening and watching right now, thank you so much for being here. Let's quickly thank our sponsors. We love and appreciate every single one of them. EBITDA Growth Systems. They're taking shops and turning them around. They guarantee they'll double your profits within 3 years. The NTMA, we love those guys. Keep bringing all the communities together, all the companies together, helping that networking. AMT, IMTS, greatest show on earth. I like to believe that. And that's not the circus anymore. It's manufacturing for sure. Then we also have our friends down in Mexico, Tecma. Yeah, we got that one coming up very soon in June down in Mexico City. Excited about that. Shop Floor Coffee. If you're drinking coffee already, and they didn't tell me to say this, by the way, but if you're drinking coffee already, give these guys a go, man. They give a percentage back to help education of manufacturing. It's good shit. So drink it instead of just buying somebody else's. American Precision Museum. I got the Shaper right behind me. Check those guys out in Vermont, the original Silicon Valley. Who am I leaving out? Oh, I cannot. They save the best for last, which is Revelation Machinery. These guys are the biggest and best in the world when it comes to used machines. They take care of you, make sure you sell the machine for the right price. They make sure and take it for you, make sure the people buy and get a good price. I know it sounds complicated, but it doesn't have to be. And currently, in the situation we're in here in the U.S. of growing and reshoring this buy and trade of used machines, do it. Get into it. Get involved. If you want to participate, if you want to work with Revelation Machinery, they're always looking to continually grow their network across the U.S. All right, my friends, that is the show. You're all amazing. Thank you for listening. Greg, handsome as ever. I know I've given you your spotlight. Anything you want, any high fives you want to give, any mic drops? We're closing it out, my friend.
Oh, man. Shout out to some friends, Brian Bieski, Andy Gager, David Trask, George Williams and team, Reliability X, and shout out to you, Tony Gunn. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thanks for joining me, brother. I've been begging you for years. You finally decided to join me. The one and only Greg Christensen. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, brother.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Gun Show. Thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and supporting the manufacturing movement that keeps the world turning. We couldn't do this without you, or without our incredible sponsors who believe in this mission as much as we do. Big thanks to Revelation Machinery, bringing the auction hammer down on deals so good it feels like daylight robbery, but legal. Whether you're buying or selling, they've got your back. To Ibara Growth Systems, your factory's secret weapon for scaling up profits, leadership, and sanity. Because spreadsheets don't fix culture, but these guys might. To AMT and IMTS, the innovators behind the biggest show in manufacturing. If you want to see the future, you show up at IMTS. To NTMA, the voice of precision manufacturers across the U.S., fighting for shops like yours every single day. To TECMA, Mexico's premier machine tool exhibition, bridging borders and bringing global technology closer to home. To Shop Floor Coffee, the only coffee that tastes like a 5-axis machine running lights out on a Monday morning, delicious and dedicated to workforce development. And last but never least, the American Precision Museum, honoring the roots of American manufacturing while inspiring the next generation to build what's next. Powered by MTDCNC and fueled by passion, this is The Gun Show. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep making things that move the world.